certain things to bring up, but otherwise, go for it. Steven Universe. Phone, you gonna be okay? You gonna be okay, phone?
Is your phone good? Do you want to use my phone?
No, my phone's good. It just blinked at me. Like, everything went black for a second.
Maybe it was winking.
Oh, yeah. It
Your
was
phone's
like, yeah,
gonna-
I got this, buddy.
Yeah.
But
Your phone's trying to tell you something.
my devices seem to hate me lately, and I don't know why, because I love using them. Welcome to Toon-Mates.
Oh yeah, we have a name now.
Finally,
That's
decided
awesome.
on one.
We spent like months thinking of names and making lists and like trying to figure out what the best names would be, and then yesterday you just texted me a completely new name, not off the list, and I was like, yeah, that works. Who knew it was going to be that easy?
Mm-hmm. This brand new podcast about animation featuring myself, Travell,
Oh, I'm Ricki.
being uploaded to Hardly Working Hippies and iTunes. Other names we had, Gymcast, Fanimation Podcast, but that kind of sounded like Funimation, and otherwise good. But,
Yeah, I liked it, except for that it sounded like Funimation.
Mm-hmm. Animation Nation, which was a festival in Hong
Japan?
Kong.
Oh, China.
It's somewhere in that area. I just lived
That
in
continent.
that continent. Well, Japan and China aren't that far away.
I guess not. But somewhere far away there was a festival that we'd never heard of that took our name preemptively.
Animated Obsession. Tuned In. That was a voice acting studio, so...
Yeah, I liked that one too.
Nerdsword, which is just me being garbled nonsense. I swear, I just had a bunch of names for the podcast I didn't tell you that were basically like, it's the Cartoon Schmartoon show.
You just played like the banana game?
Yeah.
With words?
Mm-hmm.
Fair enough.
And I think the highest runner-up, Buttcast.
Buttscast, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm. But that's all the ones we had there. And yeah, I think that was really all to go with that. So Toon-Mates, we're roommates who watch cartoons. Very clever, I know.
Yeah, very, very clever.
And each episode is going to focus on either TV show, movie, group of movies, little sections like that. Got a whole list of topics here. Not going to bring them up, so the surprise is still there.
I'm sure the listeners are sitting on the edge of their seats.
Yeah, all two of them. So, with that said, we'll get right into our first episode and first topic, which is Steven Universe.
Yay! I'm excited.
The currently airing series by Rebecca Sugar on Cartoon Network? Yeah.
Yes.
Cartoon Network. I get confused. But mostly because Cora was Nickelodeon. So it's either Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. Those are like the two cartoon stations. Disney,
I was going to say.
Disney. Those three are like the cartoon stations, though. Of modern cartoons, at least.
I feel like I watch a lot on Teletoon.
But are they
is that just a Canadian thing?
Yeah, Teletoon's Canadian.
Yeah. Is that just like where you watch cartoons from other places?
It is and it isn't.
Because I remember a lot of the shows from Teletoon being Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Like
there are some that are Teletoon originals. That I think like the whole 16 and Total Drama.
They were like overly
series.
Canadian. Like they shoved it in your face how Canadian they were.
They had to separate themselves and make sure that you knew they were Canadian.
Also, every episode had a little Canadian flag in the bottom corner at the beginning. Just in case you forgot.
Just in case you forgot they were Canadian?
Yeah.
But...
I'm glad we started by staying on topic.
Yeah.
We established that habit right away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're owned by Cora Source Entertainment, which is also Canadian, so that's not telling me anything about which shows they often show. I think they've showed a lot of Cartoon Network.
On Teletoon?
Yeah. If I'm remembering right. Yeah, it's no basis for this. It's just a fact that could be utterly wrong.
I feel like you're not wrong. Yeah, I think Teletoon might be where Steven Universe airs in Canada.
I don't know what little, or when I would see it on TV, we actually had Cartoon Network. Back in my home.
Oh, I don't think we did.
At the home I watched it in with my parents, we had Cartoon Network, so that's what I watched it on. But scroll up there. Sister channels. Cartoon Network Canada. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Also Nickelodeon Canada. So
and YTV.
And Disney Canada. This proves nothing.
Basically, what I'm getting at here is all the channels I watched that I thought were competitors
weren't.
They weren't. It's like
Not
Best
really.
Buy and
Future Shop.
And Future Shop. They were never actually competitors.
They were the same all along.
Yeah. Disney Channel was always my favorite.
I had to go YTV for a while. Mostly because they would
That's
show
because where
Dragon
all
Ball
the
Z
anime was. Yeah,
until that died out. And they would only show Naruto. And then even that died out.
Tokyo Mew Mew was on there for a while, if I remember correctly.
Just gonna look that
I was just gonna say, you have no... I can tell by the look on your face you don't know what that is. Another magical girl anime.
Tokyo Mimi?
Mew Mew. Like cats. They were cat ears.
Mew.
They worked in a cat cafe. Or a maid cafe. Where they were also dressed like cats.
Yeah, I do not recognize that in the slightest. I thought I might have, but nope.
Pretty standard. Magical girl premise.
It looks like it. They're all based on different colors.
Yep. And they're cats. I think they all have some random tattoo somewhere on their body that they think is a birthmark until...
Magical things happen.
I think a cat might tell them. I don't really remember. I just remember I liked it. I ate it up as a kid.
So Steven Universe.
Oh, yeah. This is a podcast about Steven Universe. Or an episode, I should say.
I will say there will probably be spoilers. Probably with pretty much anything we end up covering. So, fair warning.
They're 12-minute episodes. Catch up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
There's
that
just,
hard.
50, 60 of them.
Yeah, but one day you can knock those out.
I won't do the math, but sure. I feel like it'd be pushing it for one whole 24 hours.
Whatever.
But yeah, ignore the math. Instead, focus on Steven Universe.
Yes.
So, do you know much about, behind the show and little factoids? I know a bit.
I did not know until about 5 minutes ago that that's what our first episode was going to be about.
Steven Universe?
Otherwise, I would have looked into it.
I thought I brought it up, but that could have been forgotten.
It's totally possible that you did, and I was
not paying
not
attention.
listening. But if I had, I probably would have done some stuff. But I know some things just from the sheer amount that we talk about it.
Mm-hmm. So the show is created by Rebecca Sugar, who, if I remember correctly, got her start on Adventure Times doing storyboards and some music.
Yeah. Yes. I knew that.
And eventually got enough to do a pilot and branched off into her own show. Became Steven Universe.
Yes.
Which, that was pretty clear.
And I think she started thinking about it when she was a teenager or something. Because he's named after her little brother, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
He is. He's named after her little brother, Steven.
And, a little bit of plot summary. Steven Universe is the story of Steven Universe. That's his name. It's not some metaphorical thing. And he is a crystal gem human. And the crystal gems are these alien space rocks that save the Earth. Included is pearl, amethyst, and garnet. And they all live in Beach City and, stop Beach City from being destroyed. That's pretty much a short version. Anything to add? With a basic plot summary?
Not really. All I can think of is the fact that when you said their names, you did it backwards from how they say it
in the intro?
In the intro, and it really bothered me. But yeah, I think you pretty much covered it. If you didn't get what you wanted from this, then go watch the intro, because that'll pretty much cover it for you.
Mm-hmm. Did you ever see the pilot?
Like the one with the different animation and stuff?
Yeah.
I have seen part of it.
Okay. I watched it a couple days ago again. It's a lot like Steven and the Stevens is a later adaptation of it.
Okay.
Sort of. Like, it has the same time turning back thing. And he plays We Are the Crystal Gems in it. That's pretty much all you need to get from the pilot.
I did know
everybody looks different.
Yeah, I know how everyone looks. I did see this really cool fan art GIF thing somewhere where I'll have to find it and send it to you for...
The link down.
Yeah, do we have one of those?
We can make one.
Okay. But it's really cool. It's the evolution of Pearl.
I think I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it.
If I remember right, you saw it and reblogged it, and then I found it on a different site and then sent a link to it to you.
Yeah, I think that might...
Within minutes.
I can't tell you that you're wrong, because we've done that so many different times that if I tell you you're wrong, you're probably right. Most of our Steven Universe discussion consists of us showing each other things
that the other person
that we've already seen. But it's okay, because...
It's still Steven Universe.
Yeah.
For me, I don't know where I'm going with... I do know where I'm going with this, but I don't know how to segue into it, so fuck it.
I found it!
Oh, look at that. Designs.
Yeah, so from early designs to series designs, which I didn't know there was this much evolution in it, so it's cool.
Well, some of them, I believe, I can't remember. I saw the link that did show all the designs separate of the animation.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, some of them were just transitional periods, and the first two they're sketching. And I'm going to stop talking about a visual thing on your computer.
Basically, they're not all official art, but
yeah,
if you want to see it, it's around.
Mm. And they will be on the website.
Yeah, and also Google's your friend.
Yeah. Just probably search up Pearl design GIF.
Mm-hmm.
But what I was saying is how I discovered Steven Universe was the title. It was on Cartoon Network one day,
mm-hmm.
and I just saw it, and I'm like, that sounds interesting. And I went and watched it, and I was like, hey, this kind of looks like Scott Pilgrim, so I was, design-wise, initially, the further you get into Steven Universe, I've noticed quite a bit of differences, but, my initial reaction was like, hey, this kind of looks like the art from Scott Pilgrim, and I'm a big Scott Pilgrim fan, so I was like, hey, I can dig this. And it was the Beach Friends, the first episode with Connie.
Okay.
It's the first one I saw, so...
It's such a good episode.
Mm-hmm. And, I want to say maybe, I watched that, and there was maybe another one I don't remember. And then a couple months later, I was like, I'll check out more of that. And then just became a fan of the show since.
When it actually goes on TV, is it 2 episodes to fill a block, or is it a split block with another show?
It was initially 2 episodes to fill a block. That's how it aired, but I think now I'm pretty sure how it is now, and just with popularity, Adventure Time did the same thing, where they had they would have the 2 episodes grouped together into one block.
Mm-hmm.
And then, as they got more popular, it seems, then they can detach them and just show 1 episode and then do, another 10-minute show of something else.
Okay.
Uncle Grandpa, which aired after Steven Universe.
I don't want to talk about Uncle Grandpa. I'm drawing the line at Uncle Grandpa. The episode of Steven Universe where they do a crossover with Uncle Grandpa, which is another Cartoon Network show,
as an April Fool's joke,
is the worst thing that has ever happened to me. By far.
It is hilarious. But also wrong.
It's hard to watch, for me, anyway.
Have you known Uncle Grandpa before that?
No.
Okay, I had seen at least 2 episodes of Uncle Grandpa just by chance before that. So I knew Uncle Grandpa, and I knew I didn't really like Uncle Grandpa because it's random for random sake.
Okay.
So that's the style of Uncle Grandpa.
Yeah. it's pretty
out there.
I guess. I wouldn't even say out there. To me, it just seems like...
kind of dumb.
It seems lazy. But I don't want to be, I don't know, negative of this show I've never seen. I liked some parts of the episode that was a crossover with Steven Universe. Pretty much any part of the episode that didn't actually have Uncle Grandpa in it. Like, I didn't mind the Pizza Steve parts, and I didn't mind the gems themselves, because they were sort of
I was going to say, like, out of that, well, I'm not a fan of Uncle Grandpa, I do say the gems have the better parts of the episode.
The gems in that episode are, like, a parody of what the internet thinks of them.
A bit, too.
I think. Like, that's what I got from it. Like, they're almost kind of a fanon reflection. Mm-hmm. Where they're... Because what I find, like, with the internet, what they always do when they're rewriting or redrawing a character is they take a few really significant traits and amplify those, and then take away all the things that make that character a real person or round. They, like, create a flat character with a few choice traits.
Yeah.
And there's definitely Pearl.
Who is just overbearing mother figure in that episode. Yeah. So.
Actually, the best part of the episode is the, like, 0.3 seconds that Sadie and Lars are in it. I
don't quite remember what occurred.
They are on a ship in the ocean, and something happens, and the ship starts to sink, and they hold on to each other and yell, "Our ship!" as it sinks into the water.
I remember now.
And it's a very pointed jab from the show creators that I really appreciated as someone who loves Sadie and Lars.
I got a kick out of one of the early lines where Uncle Grandpa is like, "Don't worry, it's
none of this is canon.
It's not a cannon," and he turns into a literal cannon that shoots out April Fools.
Yes, I do. I did like that as well.
So I was like,
because they establish it right off the bat.
Yeah.
That it's like, don't take this too seriously. Don't go on the internet outraged yet.
So it's got that going for it. And, you know, my baby eating Pizza Steve.
My baby.
I don't think it's the worst episode.
Really?
No.
I do.
But kind of like you said, how it is a parody of itself.
Yeah.
And I love parody. I especially love parody of itself. Mm-hmm. Like within its own show. Meta parody, I guess, like in Avatar.
Oh my god,
that's one of my favorite episodes near the end where they do the recap. Scene.
Or the recap.
The recap parody play.
Yeah, the play. That's what I thought. Yeah. That is one of my favorite episodes as well, mostly for the Zuko moments. But I could sum up the entire series by saying that is one of my favorite series, mostly for the Zuko moments.
Pretty much. And what was another? Oh, Gravity Falls. Duck-tective is like its own self-parody about the show. Duck-tective is the Gravity Falls within Gravity Falls.
Is it though? Because I feel like Duck-tective isn't that like Gravity Falls.
No, it's not that much. It was kind of... I think it's going to become more like it. Okay. More... Like, they used it once or twice now to be like...
Oh, that's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Has happened a couple times. Yeah.
So I feel like as Gravity Falls is going to go on, they're maybe going to use Duck-tective more to be like, yeah, we understand your fan things, and this is how you see it, and then we'll react to it the same way.
I like that. Ourselves. I like that because it shows that the show creators, they're like, we have an open ear, we are hearing what you're saying. That doesn't mean it's going to affect us and change anything, but hey, we're hearing it.
Yeah. I think that's another good thing about the current cartoon age that we're in, the internet.
Yeah, that is, it's fun.
Instant feedback.
I like the sort of joking and sort of teasing dynamic that some show creators have. And I feel like that's mostly younger show creators. Mm-hmm.
Especially right now. Like, the current age of cartoons, I like to say, was kicked off by Adventure Time.
Oh yeah, I would agree with that.
The sheer popularity of it and the style of show just spawned that like we can make different shows that are for kids but can be enjoyed by everyone.
Yeah, because there was more of a divide before that between adult and kids cartoons.
I was actually watching a video kind of like on the ups and downs of cartoon history sort of thing, and like how for most of the 70s and 80s it was about selling merchandise, toys,
Yeah,
other stuff
yeah.
for that.
A lot of shows were created to
into
sell
the beginning of the
merchandise.
90s, they actually tried to push writing and like what a kid show can be again.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Steven
Batman
Universe
series,
feels very
Animaniacs.
90s.
Yeah.
At moments.
And
Steven
then,
Universe feels very 90s.
Then later into the 90s and most of the 2000s, well, I guess, and the 2000s, for the most part, most shows didn't push the standard again. You get some exceptions like Avatar The Last Airbender, which, you know, is pretty much unlike anything else of its time compared to what Total Drama Island that was also on at the same time.
Total Drama Island was a teenage animated show. So was 16, but I don't think a lot of teenagers watched it. But I knew kids who were my age or a little younger who weren't allowed to watch it.
I don't know if I was necessarily not allowed to watch it. I just didn't want to.
I did. I adored that show. It was my favorite show on TV when I was in like the 3rd grade, even though I didn't understand half of what was happening. I guess Teletoon had some older ones, some more mature ones.
Yeah. Yeah, and Adult Swim. Well, I guess that's just branching into adult cartoons in general.
Yeah. But Teletoon
actually,
was a kids network mostly.
The kind of exception is like there was kind of a dry season for kids cartoons through the later half of the 90s and through the 2000s, but the adult cartoons kind of took over. Like that's the big boom in popularity of, well, The Simpsons had been on, but it kind of reached season.
Is that when Family Guy came back?
And then Family Guy, and then American Dad, the whole Seth MacFarlane. Ugh.
Yeah, we both
universe.
We both just made really disgusted sounds. Well, we're negative, apparently.
Apparently,
we have strong negative opinions about some things. Me for Uncle Grandpa, and Seth MacFarlane.
Uncle Grandpa is Citizen Kane compared to Family Guy or the work of Seth MacFarlane. So, you know.
I feel like Family Guy is one of those things. It was okay. I liked it when I was too young to watch it because I felt cool when watching it. And then I got a little older and I was like, this is just stupid.
I don't think there's been an episode I liked.
I liked it when I was too young to watch it. And it was like, because I felt badass. I was like sneakily watching it. And I was like, oh, this is so funny.
I'm watching something I shouldn't.
Because it's like
therefore,
bad and they're swearing. And now I look back on it and I'm like, how does anyone enjoy this?
I don't know.
But it's like one of the most popular shows on TV, so what do I know?
I don't know.
Maybe we'll get a lot of angry emails.
My brother likes Family Guy, and we get in constant fights on how I say it's absolute trash. I maybe get like one laugh per episode. But no.
Just no?
We're talking about Steven Universe here.
Yeah, we are talking about Steven Universe.
Okay, and then the final point of my whole like cartoon thing is that like, so the people in that early 90s boom of like pushing the boundaries of kids television, these are the people who grew up on that.
Yeah,
which created
and this
Adventure
is the reaction
Time,
to that.
Gravity Falls, so forth.
Steven Universe. And so on. Like, although I will say,
most shows that seem to last are, you know, for good reasons.
Mm-hmm. Maybe it's because I'll watch almost anything, but there were a lot of like earlier 2000s cartoons that I adored. That I still think are good. I still go back and watch.
I don't know.
Recess being one of them. I think Recess is genius, and I still do. I'll fight you on that. Recess is art. The whole, like, playground, monarchy sort of thing.
I don't know. Being an adult now, I never like to say things I watched as a kid.
Are good
because
without
nostalgia having double check them
makes things better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I still love Recess. I still think Recess is clever. The just all of the like the society they created on this playground to me is hilarious. I still think that's great. I go back and watch a lot of the shows that I watched as a kid. But even like some of the shows I was obsessed with, I go back and I'm like, this is not as good as I built it up to be.
Mm-hmm. That is.
But Recess, I don't think would be one of those. Or
There's a quote, I don't remember who said it, but if you're nostalgic about something,
don't go back.
Yeah, never go back. because it won't be as good, no
Yeah.
matter how much you think it is good. Not always true.
Not always true.
But for the majority, I think it's a pretty general rule.
Sometimes even things that were bad that I enjoyed as a kid, though, I can go back and still enjoy now. And I don't know if it's just because I'm stubborn. Like Disney sequels.
I think it's because you're stubborn.
Yeah. Maybe that's a bad example, because
Yeah.
everyone seems to hate those except for me and Haley, who is our other roommate, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
We have 4 people living in this house. You'll never hear them mentioned again. It's a lie.
Yeah. I don't know why you said that, but we'll never hear about them ever again.
So Steven Universe.
So Steven Universe, I was also kind of trying to look up some cartoons from the quote-unquote dry period.
We should have known this whole staying on topic thing wasn't gonna...
Oh, of course not.
Clone High.
Clone High, but that was meant for adults. Clone High is fantastic.
Danny Phantom.
Danny Phantom.
I love Danny Phantom. Fairly Odd Parents. See, there's some good ones in there.
There's some.
I consider Fairly Odd Parents great, or SpongeBob.
Fairly Odd Parents is still running, isn't it, though?
It is, but we don't talk about that.
Yeah. Yeah, what I'm seeing here is, like, most of the things... we're going off the IMDb list of my ratings. Most of the things from that time were anime that I liked. Adult cartoons. Not a lot of kid cartoons seem to have much staying power.
I guess.
From that period.
SpongeBob, I think they might still make. They made a movie, so.
SpongeBob? Yeah, it's still on. I don't know. Not a big fan of SpongeBob.
I could
Not
still
a big
watch
fan
SpongeBob.
of the revival of SpongeBob.
Fair enough.
Where I'm like, you guys stopped watching this 5 years ago, but now you're watching it again because... Why?
I don't know. But I still like it. I still think I think SpongeBob does stupidity done right. Like, I think some stupid jokes and stupid humor can be funny, and then sometimes it's just lazy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think SpongeBob does it all right. But Uncle Grandpa makes me want to die.
But Steven Universe.
Steven Universe is great.
The other thing I found was this whole blog full of facts. So here's a fact for you. Shoot, where was it? Oh. Peridot can be seen in the background during Sadie's song.
I'm so confused. Is it a joke?
Yeah, it's a joke blog.
Okay, I was so confused.
Their Cartoon Network will be selling Steven Universe plush toys at the end of the year. However, the only plushies of Lars will be produced.
I'd buy that. They say it like it's a joke. I would buy that.
Onion is the Michelin Man's half-brother.
I love Vidalia, by the way.
I came across this one trying to look up some facts. Was a joke blog about not facts.
Yeah.
So
I do love those.
turned out for me.
I do love the internet's joy of spreading fake information. On the off chance that one person won't get the joke and believe it's true. I've also turned a video on silent in the background that is one of the 107 facts.
Oh, from Cartoon
Hangover?
Hangover about Steven Universe.
I love these videos.
Mm-hmm.
Oh crap! Never mind. It doesn't put them on the screen, so it doesn't work for me. Oh, yep.
Yeah. With those videos said, I've watched a good amount, but then there's sometimes where it's like, if I watch a Dragon Ball Z one, I'm just gonna know all the facts. What's the point?
I don't know. Sometimes they have some ones in there you don't know. Like they'll have statistic ones, which is interesting sometimes.
Statistics, but that's like under 15 facts out of 107.
I guess, but like I know in the
For the most part, at least.
In the Sailor Moon one, they have a statistic about how many times Tuxedo Mask has to be saved throughout the series,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was really funny. Just like little random tidbits of information that are never going to be useful for you in your entire life doing anything useful unless you decide to start a cartoon-based podcast.
Apparently. There was a correct article I read about counters.
Counters?
That is a section of fandoms.
Oh, people would just, like,
count
and, like, gain information and statistics.
Mm-hmm.
I read an article about how the different ways that fandom appreciate a show, and it was talking about Reddit versus how Reddit talks about their favorite TV shows versus how Tumblr talks about their favorite TV shows, and Reddit is more like sheer information.
Yeah, I would.
Whereas Tumblr is more like taking the show
to the next step and just
to the next
theorizing,
step, or art and fan fiction, shipping and theory. Where Reddit is more like these are facts that you might not have known. Both of which are really cool to know. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of interesting how different people respond to the shows.
Yeah. So let's talk about the characters. How about?
Okay, that sounds like a good idea.
Let's focus. We've been going for like half an hour, and I'd say maybe 10 minutes was about Steven Universe. So.
Well, there's always editing.
Yeah, we can focus the second half more on Steven Universe.
Okay.
All right. Let's just go into the characters. So.
Well, who's your favorite character? Start there.
Favorite character is Pearl. I have adored her from the beginning, and apparently that was not the case with a lot of people.
Pearl gets a lot of shit. I love Pearl. Pearl, in my opinion, is the most human of the gems. Which is weird because she hates and doesn't understand humans. She's the one, I feel like, who rejects humanity the most. Mm-hmm. But she, personality-wise and flaw-wise, and just the way her mind works, I feel like she's the most human.
Yeah. And she's, I don't know, perfection. The whole perfectionist thing is always fun.
Mm-hmm. She's got I was going to say she's got that Monica from Friends thing going on, but...
I wouldn't understand that.
But that's a lost reference, so...
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen much of Friends.
But yeah, she's a perfectionist, but she's also very imperfect, and that clearly terrifies her.
Mm-hmm. That she can't be perfect.
Is it the last Stephen Baum where they did Pearl's big arc about what happened with her and Garnet and... Yes,
that was the last Stephen Baum.
Okay, that was the last Stephen Baum.
I don't know if that would be her biggest arc per se.
No, but it's the arc that has made me... I already loved her, but it's an arc that made me love her a lot more.
It is a Pearl arc, yes. I'm good at talking. Mm-hmm. Pearl has gone through things, Ricki.
Pearl's seen some shit.
She has. She seems to be... She remembers the Gem War, I think, more than most people do.
The Gem War?
What was it? Was it the Gem War? The whole war they fought?
Yeah, I guess. I don't know if it has a name, it's just not what I heard you say at first, and it took me a second for my mind to take what I heard and process it into human contact.
Yeah. Like, she seems to be the one to talk about it the most.
Yeah.
Which doesn't mean the others don't remember it, although it wasn't...
I think they do. I think they just didn't...
It wasn't Amethyst, like, kind of near the tail end of that.
Well, yeah, Amethyst was born out of...
Kindergarten.
Almost out of the preparation for it. Mm-hmm. But I think Garnet remembers it. Garnet just doesn't...
Garnet's not vocal.
She's not vocal about her feelings.
To herself. And
she also doesn't remember... Or not doesn't remember. She doesn't miss Homeworld like Pearl does. Mm-hmm. Garnet, I think... This hasn't been stated, but just from what I think Garnet loves Earth a lot more. I think it's because this is where she can be herself.
Be herself, which, major spoilers,
everyone who's listening to this has seen the whole show, right?
Possibly. I don't know. But we warned them. So
we warned you
it's
at
your
the
own
beginning,
dang
first
fault
of all.
If you're being fraternized? No. If the spoilers are bothering you, it's your own dang fault at this point.
Yeah, you were warned.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like, Garnet is a fusion of Ruby and Sapphire.
Yes, who are two smaller gems. Because gems can do something called fusion, where they do a fusion dance.
Much like Dragon Ball Z.
Much like Dragon Ball Z, and then are fused into one gem who is larger and more powerful, and has a separate personality.
That is a combination of
That is a combination of the two.
Or 3, or 4.
However many.
Yeah.
But, from the sounds of it, Earth is probably the first place that Garnet really got to fuse. So, I don't think Garnet misses Homeworld like Pearl does. Pearl misses it a lot. Pearl only came to Earth because of Rose, who is Steven's now deceased mother.
Slash himself.
Yes, slash himself. Rose
Quartz, I guess that's a bit of explaining. Rose Quartz was a Steven's mother who came with the rest of the gems to Earth.
Well, she led them. She led the resistance.
Which fought back the Homeworld gems. Back to their planet.
Yes.
Do they have a planet?
Yes, they do.
Okay, I was wondering if it was a planet or like a...
Fleet.
Yeah, something.
The gems came to Earth to take it over because they wanted a new planet for reasons I don't think we know. And
to be said, with the whole story of Steven Universe, more recently the plot episodes seem to be happening. I would say there's a good 30 episodes. It's a good 30 episodes before any real plot is discussed.
On the show?
Yeah. There is subtlety to the plot.
There is subtlety to the plot.
You can pick stuff up.
And there's also important character building. They get you attached to the characters before they start anything crazy.
Yeah. But
and they do a lot of, I think they do a lot of establishing, because I feel like this is one of those worlds where she needed to establish the rules before she could really build any plot on top of it.
And yeah, quite a bit, because like there was some reviewer I was watching who like had just jumped in, and I don't know, me being caught up versus him just jumping in and the things he didn't understand about the world.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I guess, yeah. I was just used to it. So yeah, there's a lot of world building, and the whole story behind it was... they focused on character before they decided to tell a story.
Which I think was good. I was going to say something and I lost it.
I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, I wasn't done talking about Pearl and how she misses Homeworld more, because the only reason she came to Earth was because of Rose, because Rose led the resistance against the Homeworld gems who were trying to take over Earth for reasons we don't know. I already said all this, but I lost my place, so I'm catching myself up. It's okay though, because cuts. And the only people who are left of this apparently huge army that Rose was leading are the Crystal Gems, and they stayed behind to protect Earth in case the Homeworld Gems...
Was it a huge army?
Came back... From the images, yes.
I guess I never really thought about it, but yeah, if it was a full-up battle, they probably wouldn't have,
and there's also
4 people.
I think it's Jasper says to Pearl or to Steven, this is all that's left of the famous Crystal Gems. Like, it sounds like there's supposed to be a lot more of them, but I think a lot of them died.
That, or just confusion.
Because Pearl also
Ruby
says,
and Sapphire.
when they go to, like, the battlegrounds or whatever, she says something along the lines of, like, thousands of gems lost their lives here. So it had to be bigger.
True.
There's no way 4 of them fought off everyone from Homeworld. It was a bigger group.
Yeah.
And this is what's left of the core group.
Which is, technically 4. So that's 5 with Steven.
Yeah.
So it's pretty low numbers.
Love Pearl. So yeah, that's...
Love Pearl. That's Pearl. Bit of Garnet.
Pearl. A little bit of Garnet in there.
And Rose Quartz, the story behind that is she fell in love with a human named Greg.
It's very Little Mermaid. The way she talks about Greg when she says, like, oh, I love humans, they're so interesting. She's, like, sort of enchanted by the human world. It reminds me a lot of the Little Mermaid, the way she talks to him.
Yeah, I see that. But, Yeah, she falls in love with him, and then, although not fully explained or what exactly it means, she gave up her physical form to create a Steven, which is half human, half gem.
So we don't really know how that happened.
And there's Lion.
And then, yeah.
Which, Lion is a pet lion.
Yeah. Who clearly was a pet of Rose's.
Oh, I was going to say, which was named after Rebecca Sugar's cat, Lion.
Oh, yeah. That too.
But that too. Pet of Rose's, or, I don't know, part of me thinks it maybe is Rose in some form.
Ooh, that's interesting.
That's the kind of vibe
Because
I
Pearl
was
doesn't
getting.
know. Pearl doesn't know who Lion is, and if Rose has a pet, Pearl would probably know about it. Pearl, by the way, doesn't like humans, and I think part of the reason she doesn't like them is because Greg, who Rose fell in love with,
totally got in the way of
Pearl's was in love or still is in love with Rose.
Mm-hmm.
And she made it very clear that she is not a fan of Greg.
Yes. She got some hate for that.
Yeah, that's another thing that people always criticize Pearl for, is not liking Greg, and...
You know, you do you.
Yeah.
I guess she was jealous.
Yeah, you can hate Pearl for having human emotions and for having flaws if you want to.
Yeah.
You're still wrong.
But, you know. Yeah, so Rose... That was my guess, is that Lion is somehow Rose in some form.
I really like this idea.
Because when you say she gave up her physical form to...
become Steven.
That leaves a lot of questions. That's more questions than answers to how Steven is
born.
born.
Gems are not...
From Earth.
Are not physical. They are gems.
They're light.
And, yeah, their physical forms are just, like, projections.
Mm-hmm.
They live in... Just like you live in your brain, they live in the gem, right? The gem is basically their life force. So if Steven has Rose's gem, how is Lion... I don't know, maybe Lion is like, maybe it's like some magical, mystical shit, and Lion is created from her love or her desire to see her son.
I don't know. The origins of Lion are still unsure.
Yeah, and Lion is also kind of...
lazy?
Blasé about Steven. Like, Steven's always like, does this mean you love me? And Lion will just give him a blank stare. Steven wants love from Lion so bad, and Lion is very...
Lion cares, though. Like, if Steven's in danger, Lion has been shown in the episode, Lion will arrive to help.
He does arrive to help.
But if Lion's not shown in the episode, then pretty much don't expect him to show up anytime soon. Yeah. Lion's not around that often.
He's not, but when he is, it's good times.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's some tie to Rose with a lion that has not been explained yet.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot that hasn't been explained. It's a mysterious show.
Mm-hmm. But, you know, they're like 100, no, they're not even at 100. They're at 70, I want to say.
Episodes?
Around 70 episodes so far.
We have the power to find out.
Mm-hmm. And there are about 50 in the first season. And I think there's going to be 100 in the second season. And I think it's like 150 are planned for the third season.
There is 52 in each season. Obviously, season 2 is not done yet, so there's not that many episodes yet. Okay. But there's 52 planned for season 2. Only 17 of those have come out.
Okay, so up to 69? Mm. Yeah. So 69 episodes so far.
And tomorrow's, which will be the 70th, is called Catch and Release.
I don't know what that one's about, and there's no plot on the wiki page here. So.
Nope. So yeah,
we'll find out.
To remove the mysticism and the coolness from it, we're recording the day before Catch and Release comes out.
Yeah. I don't know. Does there need to be mysticism about that?
No. Clearly not, because
I think anybody who
took
is
it away.
slightly... True. Anyone who is slightly understands what a podcast is, they realize it's not live the moment they plug it in most times.
Yeah.
So your favorite character?
Lapis.
Lapis Lazuli.
If we're gonna go into Lapis, it causes a whole bunch more explaining.
Let's get through the main cast first.
Okay.
Maybe.
But basically...
And then we can go into Lapis.
Lapis...
She does come along later.
Yeah, but basically, I mean... Lapis is a homeworld gem. She's not one of the crystal gems.
No.
She is from homeworld.
And it is not much known about her.
Yeah, it's not specified whether or not she was on the other side of the war, or if she was even around for that, so...
She was trapped in a mirror.
She was trapped in a mirror for some time, which I have a lot to say about, because that says a lot about the crystal gems. But I digress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. So, well, we kind of pretty much said all about Steven.
The only character we haven't talked much about is probably Amethyst.
Yeah. Amethyst, is the other gem. She's wild, rambunctious.
The other gem.
The youngest of them.
Yes.
Not counting Steven. Because, yeah. The youngest of full gem, pure gem, whatever you want to call it.
Amethyst was born on Earth, which is new. She was, during the Gem War, the Homeworld Gems started a... Kindergarten, which is a project to create more gems to fight in their war. Amethyst was the result of this, but through events that we do not know yet, she ended up being a part of the Crystal Gems.
Instead of fighting with the rest of gems like her.
Yes.
Against them, so. I wonder when the Gem War happened.
We don't know.
Think about that, like.
I think it happened...
It's like somewhat, like, this Earth is our Earth, but alternate timeline, because gems are involved, and they've been around for at least since arguably the 1600s.
Well, definitely before...
Definitely before that.
Beach City.
Yeah. Which
obviously, because the Crystal Gems were already living alone on this beach or island when Beach City was discovered and founded. So, a hella long time ago. We can't say exactly how long, so let's just say hella long.
So, the Gem Wars, who knows when those took place, but a long, long time ago. Although time doesn't affect gems, as should be said, really.
The gems don't really... They don't age.
Physically.
Physically.
They age in, mentally.
Mentally they do.
Levels.
Mentally they do, which is best
Especially
exemplified by Amethyst.
I was going to say just by Steven coming around.
Yeah, but,
because comparing them, what we've seen of them in some flashbacks told by Greg, compared to how they are now, a lot of them are pretty different.
Yeah, that's true.
Mostly Pearl.
I was going to say mostly Amethyst. She seems like a child in the past episodes. In the flashback episodes, I should say. She's a child. Now she's more of a rambunctious teen, kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
By the way, everyone will tell you, dear listener, that Steven has 3 moms, not counting Rose. And they will say that those moms are Pearl, Garnet, and Amethyst. Those people are wrong. He has 2 moms, Pearl and Garnet, and a big sister, Amethyst. But, whatever.
That's a fair thing, but it's easier to say 3 moms.
Yeah. They all do raise him, it's just that the role Amethyst plays
is more
big
she
sister.
has a mentality level similar to someone a couple of years older than Steven himself, so.
Yeah. She's like maybe, I would say mentally she's like 17.
Yeah.
And Steven is 12?
I think so. At the start. He had at least one birthday.
Right.
So he's probably 13, if not older.
Maybe he's 11 and then 12? I don't know.
I think he's 14. If
really?
I can guess.
14.
Maybe he's just 13.
I don't know, he seems younger than 14.
I think the I want to say Nightmare Hospital mentioned something about, I think Connie had, was it 6 months or a year that she, I think it was 6 months since her eyes had been healed. So how long did she know Steven before that?
That's true. But we didn't really have an age to start with.
No, I think he said he was 12. Actually, I don't remember.
What interests me is that, like,
He's a preteen.
What year is it?
Or teenager.
I think he's a preteen.
Or 13. Around there. 12 or 13, I would assume.
The other thing is, like, what year is it in Steven Universe canon? Like, is it present time? Because he owns a GameCube.
And a N64.
Yeah, like...
And his dad has a cassette player in his van.
Yeah, but that's different.
Yeah, the van is also old.
The van is old, and also people own old music playing devices now.
And they watch VHS tapes a lot.
Yeah. So, like, is it
One
just
could
now?
be say, like, it's the early 90s.
Yeah, is it just now and there's, like,
Nope.
an appreciation
No.
for the 90s, or is it the 90s?
Steven has definitely had a smartphone, so...
His phone is a smartphone. It's a touchscreen smartphone. So it's a mix.
It's now, but with a bit of retro culture.
It is
in there.
now, but it's being made by 90s kids.
Yeah, so...
What drove me to ask that was because, from what we can tell, when Rose and Greg met in the flashbacks, it's like the 80s. So how long were they together before Steven came about?
Even then, I think it was like the late 80s.
Yeah, but still 80s.
Yeah,
Based on the way they're dressed and stuff. Honestly, Pearl is the most 80s dressed.
Is it the leg warmers?
It's the leg warmers. And it's because she's such a dancer, but...
Greg, Mr. Universe, runs a...
Car wash.
Car wash, that's the word. It's like a laundromat for cars. What is that word, Travell?
A car wash.
Yes. He...
Lives in his van.
You think he'd live in the car wash? Like, is there an office? I think
You
there's
would
an
think,
office
but I think
attached.
he enjoys living in his van.
Yeah.
I think he always wanted to do, like, the...
I also think he's only, like, 30-something.
Driving around the country, living in his van, performing music, but he didn't get to do that, so now he just lives in his van.
I don't think he's that old, either.
No, he's not that old.
He still has, like, young adult life where, yeah, living in a van is fine.
I also just think he doesn't see things the way normal adults do.
True.
Because Greg, again, has seen some shit.
Mm-hmm. You know, he fell in love with an alien rock from a different planet.
Yeah.
And has a child. So, you know.
Things didn't go as planned for Greg. Not in a bad way, just in a... I did not foresee these turn of events.
This is different.
Yeah.
So he sort of raises Steven.
Steven lives with the Gems.
Yes. He does raise Steven. They just have he doesn't live with Steven.
Yes.
But it's not like a estranged father kind of role.
No.
Like, they're still super cool buddies.
Mm-hmm. It's important for Steven to live with the Gems, to learn about who and what he is.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I don't know, this being that he is half of, that he doesn't really fully understand yet.
He himself is his own new being for being
He's half gem, half human.
Yeah.
I still think it's dumb that Greg doesn't live with them.
I don't know if Greg would be cool with that.
I mean, he lived with them when he was injured, and he seemed to really be into it.
I don't know.
Injured.
Yeah, Greg is also Rebecca Sugar's favorite character.
Greg is a fantastic father, first of all. I wasn't sure when I started the show, because just usually that, like, the way his character is constructed, that trope is usually like a bad dad trope, but he's a fantastic father. Loves his son very much, but he's also got a tough job because he can't relate to his son a lot. Although Steven and Greg do have a lot in common.
Both music lovers.
They're music lovers.
That's a thing not brought up yet. The music.
Oh, the music in Steven Universe is fantastic. We should talk about the
Just like Adventure Time, which was something I praised Adventure Time for. I don't think I told you, it's just thoughts I had to myself. When Adventure Time first started getting popular and what I had seen, I was like, so the show has music in it a lot. That's, it's good when shows have music. It's like, it's good for people. Good for kids.
I also enjoy storytelling with music mixed in. I don't know if you knew that about me.
The theater student you are?
Yeah. But,
with a particular interest in musical theater.
I do love me some musicals. The music in Steven Universe is great. I have it all on my phone, and I listen to it a lot in the car and stuff. It's similar to Adventure Time's music, mostly because Rebecca Sugar wrote some of it, or worked on that, and obviously her style meshes well with theirs. Like, so it's kind of reminiscent of that, but it's got its own spin to it. It's mostly, even the sad songs are relaxing and happy. Yeah. None of them are really like, I'm gonna go have a good cry.
Do you have a fave song?
I think Do It For Her is probably my favorite song.
It's pretty good. I
also love Stephen's Lament. Is that what it is?
Oh, which one is that again?
Just one moment. Let me double check myself here.
I know it's in the first episode, but I really love Greg's version of Drive My Van Into Your Heart.
Let Me Drive My Van Into Your Heart is a fantastic song. It is a jam, if I've ever heard one. Stephen's Lament, which is just after the climax of the first season.
Oh, yes.
When he is debating whether or not he wants to tell Connie, who is his best friend, about all the crazy stuff that's happened to him.
Mm-hmm. Which, wasn't she there for the whole Lapis thing?
They were evacuating the city, so.
For what? Not for Lapis.
Oh, she was not there at the beginning because she had to go to school. Or she had to go to rehearsal, or tennis practice. She had tennis practice. And then Stephen is like, what is this school?
When they went to confront.
Confront Lapis? Yeah,
I thought she was part of the team.
She's there for that, but then
the whole...
He goes up,
and
they're in the
just
ship.
Him.
With the gems. Mm-hmm. The gems are there for the part where he goes into the ship. And that's the main part, I think.
Yeah.
That he's worried about telling her.
Mm-hmm. That was heartbreaking.
The song?
That episode where he's like, should I stay friends with my only friend?
Yeah, because he thinks he might have to
friend.
completely
Not
abandon...
his only friend, but best friend.
Completely abandon all of his human ties. He has the classic superhero debate. Of, I have this great responsibility, and I don't want to put that burden on you.
But he's 12.
But
he puts
like
it
12.
in a whole new perspective.
It's very sad. Stephen tries very hard to protect the people he loves. And it's very sweet.
Mm-hmm.
Also, What Can I Do For You is an amazing song. That's one of the newer ones.
Cookie Cat,
also from the first episode.
Mm-hmm. Or, no. Let Me Drive My Van Into Your Heart is in Laser Light Cannon.
Which is the second episode. No, that's the first episode.
No. Yes, 1 second. I was actually, if I remember
I've already got it up here.
The wiki?
Yeah.
If I remember right. A little thing about that.
Gem Glow and then Laser Light Cannon.
Yes. But the production code, right there, shows for the first 10 or so, they weren't shown in the order they were created.
Yes. That also happened later on, at the end of the season, and with season 2. They were switched around. For a bit.
Yeah. And it was noticeable in some points, like in the April Fool's episode, some designs were the older designs because the episode was made before.
Yeah. Which happens, but yeah, the first 2 episodes have a few songs, and then they sort of establish that it's got a musical aspect, and then there are some episodes that have no music, besides the background music, obviously.
But yeah, like Laser Light Cannon, I feel is a better pilot than Gem Glow.
I thought Gem Glow was great just because...
Gem Glow is good, and it shows off his powers, but Laser Light Cannon establishes the world better.
Yeah, that's fair. The thing about They would have been aired together, wouldn't they? Because those ones, when you watch it, they go straight November 4th, original air date.
Yeah.
They aired at the same time. But,
So that's not a big deal.
What was I going to say? Cookie Cat. Me watching the first episode, I wasn't really sure what Steven Universe was, or if I was going to like it. The moment Cookie Cat started, I was like, oh yes, I like this show. Yeah. Cookie Cat. The moment that started, I was sold.
It is a fantastic moment. And a fantastic show. Yeah, favorite show on TV.
Yeah, it's probably my favorite show on TV as well.
Favorite well, if saying like, oh, it's my favorite cartoon airing as well as doesn't hold as much weight as just saying favorite show airing.
Yeah, but most of my favorite shows right now are cartoons.
Mine too. I don't watch a lot of live action TV right now.
Me neither. And a lot of the live action TV I do watch is stuff that's on Netflix, because we don't even have cable, so.
No. Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
That's like my only.
For 10 weeks a year.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of off the top of my head. So I think that's a kind of a good point to end, saying it's both our favorite show.
Yeah.
Currently on.
We'll have to, I mean, I'm sure it'll happen, do another Steven Universe podcast now that we've sort of laid down a lot of the basic stuff, and then we can talk more like...
More in detail about certain elements, and like I said in the beginning, like, yeah, it's based on a movie, a show, or group of shows or something, but no, it can be based on an element of a show, and especially when there's, practically 70 episodes of a cartoon, you can, find something to talk about.
Oh, we could do...
Something more than an hour's worth of talking about.
Especially because Steven Universe, there's just so much.
There's so much
there. We could talk about lore, we could talk about music, we could talk about
cultural
voice
impact.
cast.
Voice cast, you're a big fan of.
I'm a big fan of the voice cast. Mostly because they've employed some great R&B artists. It's another thing about the show. I don't really know how that happened, but they ended up having Estelle, Nicki Minaj, and Janelle Monáe on the show.
And Estelle is a regular.
Estelle is every episode. She's Garnet. But,
she does have the least lines.
I guess, because Garnet's very...
Very quiet into herself.
Yes, but she's also, like, a favorite character.
I do think that's how they could have some, like, Estelle from the beginning. Is because she doesn't talk much, She could do a whole...
slew of episodes in one recording session.
3 months worth of episodes in maybe 30 minutes.
Yeah. She seems super into the show.
Yeah. It's...
When you, like, look at her social media accounts and stuff.
I don't. But
I really like
do,
her.
So...
That's because I found out it was her and got super excited because American Boy by Kanye West featuring Estelle is, like, one of my big jams. I love that song. But then, yeah, Nicki Minaj. I assume...
For an episode?
I don't know if I'm not giving the show creators enough credit. I assume Estelle has something to do with those things.
Just because they're... Are they friends? Or are they...
Well, you assume they would know one another.
Similar type music?
You assume they would know one another. They're in the same business and they have the same circle of people they've worked with.
Because all famous people know other famous people?
Well, no, but, like, I don't know. If Janelle is close with Kanye...
It's a fair assumption,
and Nicki is close with Kanye, it's possible that they're friends.
Yeah, could be. I have no idea.
What I'm saying is, I want Kanye West to be on Steven Universe. Oh, that'd be amazing.
Honestly, it's just... I don't know. It's just me. It's not my kind of music, so it's not... To have these musicians appear as guest stars and regulars and voice characters, it's not really something that affects me.
And Janelle Monáe's character...
They just do good things.
Janelle Monáe's character is like her. Janelle Monáe's character is, like, reminiscent of her music.
Which is the fusion Sugalite, right?
Sardonyx.
Sardonyx.
Sugalite is Nicki Minaj. But Sardonyx has like this vintage radio personality kind of voice.
Vaudeville. Not vaudeville per se, but that era.
But it's like coming to you live.
Yeah.
And Janelle Monáe's album has a whole story that has a lot to do with that, because it's about a dystopian revolution type thing, but they communicate through late night radio stations. So there's some, unless that's total coincidence, there's some knowledge there.
I don't think it's so much that. If I would assume Rebecca Sugar is a fan of her.
Yeah, you would assume.
And then would be like, oh, if I can get her for the show, I might, tailor the character a bit to something I like about her.
Mm-hmm.
Or a little in-jokey sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like, when they had Henry Winkler on that episode of BoJack Horseman.
Yeah.
And, like everybody remembers him from that one time he was on Law and Order.
I guess. Janelle Monáe, you might also know, if you, dear listener, are not a fan of psychedelic soul, which is listed as her genre on Wikipedia, she was also the female voice on We Are Young by Fun.
For people who have listened to that.
Well, everyone has had to have heard that song at some point, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's on the radio an obscene amount. Or it was when it came out.
We are young.
Yes.
That song. That's all I know.
That's the one.
That's all I know, so I didn't even remember being a female voice. I can't pick it up in my head, so,
Well, she's on there. So that is another thing that she's done that is well known.
So that people know now.
Yes.
Let the people know. All right. Steven, go watch Steven Universe.
Please, go watch Steven Universe. Do yourself a favor.
Not much else to say. Just go watch it. Well, there is much to say. As we said, we could do a whole episode.
You know what we should do an episode on? If we're going to do more Steven Universe episodes, which I assume we are, is humans. We should do a whole one on the humans on the show. In the show.
Just all the humans?
Yeah.
So we talked about a tiny bit about Connie, and then Steven and Greg.
Yeah, because the gems...
And that's it.
There's so much to talk about with the gems, but the humans in the show are amazing, so we should definitely do an episode on that. Also, we could just do an entire episode on podcast planning, because apparently that's what
we need to do that more. Yeah. Figure it out. What day do you want to put this out?
The day it's done, I guess. Oh, you mean for weekly?
Bi-weekly.
Bi-weekly?
Also,
is bi-weekly twice a week or once every other week?
It's every other... Once every other week is when this podcast will be released, and that's how I'll say that. I won't say bi-weekly.
Maybe it's both.
That can't be right.
Maybe it's by definition. Every 2 weeks or twice a week, yep.
What the hey? That is not cool. Bi-weekly, meaning every 2 weeks, this podcast will come out.
So 2 a month-ish.
Yeah. Maybe 3.
Maybe 3.
If we get lucky.
If we get lucky?
Yeah. That's how I always thought about it when I get my bi-weekly paychecks.
The calendar is a...
The calendar's in my favor.
Calendars are a thing of luck. It's all a gamble.
Mm-hmm. It's like, I get 3 paychecks this week.
This month?
Yeah, that.
You tried.
Calendar is in my favor.
Oh. Okay.
All right. Well,